everybody, and welcome back to another video. This week I am in the process of cleaning out and reorganizing my studio space. I'll have a video out next week for that. But this video is actually about a project I did about 5 or 6 months ago now. I haven't been able to talk about it until the episode aired, which it aired last night. And it's a mural project that I did for the TV show Selling Houses Australia. It was an awesome opportunity. I'll talk about it more throughout the video, but yeah, let's jump into it. So where do I even begin? This was such a crazy project for me to be a part of. It's one of the biggest and most exciting jobs that I've done, and I feel like it was a real notch in my belt, and yeah, I had a ball with it. It even sort of, the way that this project came about was rather bizarre. Back in 2015, I went on a Europe trip and travelled around with one of my best mates for 3 months. Somewhere along those travels, I met a fellow Australian bloke at a pub somewhere. I can't remember what country it was in. And yeah, we just became friends. We kept in contact a little bit after we came back from Europe. We did a road trip up the coast and sort of met up with people that we met when we were overseas. And it was this guy who now lives and works in Sydney. He works for the production company that works for Selling Houses Australia, and he works in the department of the show that comes up with all the designs for their exterior landscaping. So that was the segment that I was essentially a part of. I was brought in as a painter to work on this massive wall that was going to become a beer garden in their outdoor dining area. So he rang me up out of the blue one day and said the classic, how you been, how you going, what are you up to? He knew that I was a painter. He sort of like kept up with my socials online, and yeah, had seen that I'd been doing a lot of murals. They needed a mural for their job, and he sort of threw my name into the ring, I guess. From there I applied. I sent a bit of a folio of some recent murals that I'd done and a bit of a vision that I had for the wall, and it went from there. Got the okay. I had about 2 weeks from when I got the call to when I started the project, so like a pretty quick turnaround time. And inside of that, we came up with a design in which they gave me a folio or an image album of all these photos from the Vietnam War. The pub was an RSL pub, so they wanted it to sort of represent the soldiers, and then furthermore, there was 2 veterans from the Vietnam War who lived in Coniva, this small town on the way from Melbourne to Adelaide. And yeah, so we decided that we wanted to commemorate this soldier, one of the veterans, who later we found out was actually the current pub owner's relative, which was a rather bizarre coincidence, and I didn't find that out until I actually got there. So that was pretty epic. But yeah, so I came up with this design in which I took out different elements from different images from this album. We knew that we wanted to feature this veteran soldier who was from the town, so he became this sort of large focal point for the mural. We decided that we wanted to incorporate some of that iconic Vietnam War sky, just because it's so eye-catching and beautiful to look at. And then we've got this boat, one of the transport boats, and the sort of concept behind that was that it was returning with nobody on it to signify those who were lost in the Vietnam War. So once I had the design done, I started preparing. I started trying to work out what paint that I was going to require, because there wasn't really a great hardware store nearby. There was actually a hardware store and they had a small selection of paint, but I wanted to be able to get the majority of what I needed so I wasn't stuck when I got there. I obviously hadn't had the opportunity to see the wall in person, and I was just going off images. So when I got there, I sort of discovered that it was really, really flaky and degraded and weathered. It was kind of this like weird sandstony like concrete, and it just absorbs so much paint. So I probably used almost double the amount of paint that I had planned on using, which blew out my budget a little bit and was a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I managed to pull through and yeah, make it work. So I only had 4 days to complete this mural, which was quite a time crunch for me. It was one of the tallest, well, it's the tallest wall that I've done. It comes close to being the biggest wall that I've done. And yeah, I only had 4 days, so I knew that I could get it done because I knew that I would work however long was necessary to get it done, but it was still like a big task to approach. So 4 days, I ended up working about 10 or 11 hours each day. So I would get, they put me up in a motel that was just down the road. So day one, I sort of went in, met everyone, we filmed some stuff, had a look at the wall, and then day two, I started the mural. Worked about 10, 11 hours each day. Would go home, have a shower, go back to the pub for dinner and a beer, go back home again, sleep, and then back the next day. 4 days of non-stop painting basically, and then a day either side for travel. The town itself was really beautiful, really nice, just a little country town basically. Everybody there is a local, sort of operates on this main highway though that sees people coming from Melbourne and heading through to Adelaide, vice versa. The cast and crew were all super nice, really accommodating. Obviously I haven't worked on a television show set before, so it was a little bit intimidating going into it, but yeah, everybody made me feel very welcome there, and they were super supportive, and they loved the art, which was even better. So yeah, it was really fun, and I got along great with the whole cast and crew, and we would eat dinner and stuff at night and hang out. So yeah, that was really cool. The other thing that sort of happened throughout me painting was that the cameraman would sort of come out and the producer and shoot some stuff every now and then. They also time-lapsed the entire process of me painting on GoPros, but they didn't end up using that in the show, which was a bit of a shame. And I was kind of a little bit iffy if they were going to, because of where the wall was, the lighting sort of hit it rather strangely. Like the lighting that you can see on screen right now was like perfect when the sun was kind of behind the wall, but if the sun was behind the wall on the other side, it was dark, and then you could kind of get this like weird reflection going on the GoPros when the sun was kind of hitting it direct on. So I don't think that footage would have been great, but the footage that I was managed to take on my camera and moving the angle around to accommodate for the lighting worked out rather well, and I'm glad that I was able to obviously document this whole process, because it was such a big achievement for me and a really epic mural, I think. I had a lot of fun just doing the painting itself. I haven't been able to talk about this piece over the last couple of months. I actually did it back in November, which is crazy to think about now. It's been pretty fun though, like going back, looking through the footage and thinking about that whole experience all over again. The show aired on television last night, and I watched it at home with the family, which was rather entertaining. It was very strange seeing myself on TV. It was strange enough seeing just the people that I met, and seeing the property and on TV, and something that I'd experienced, and see how that was edited down into a television show. Really, it was also really cool because they had me do my painting across 4 days before they started the demolition. So I finished up and was driving home on, I think I was driving home on a Tuesday from memory, and that's when they started their demolition. So I didn't see any of the builds over the course of me being there. I just saw them shooting all of the sort of behind the scenes interviews and surrounding shot sort of footage. But yeah, so I saw the demolition, and then I had no idea what the actual place looked like or what the beer garden was turned into. Obviously in my video you can see right now that is how it was before the renovation. And yeah, I was very curious to see how the rest of the build came together. Overall, it looked amazing. The beer garden especially looked really, really nice. The mural really did sort of like tie it all together, I think, and really made that beer garden environment pretty awesome. And yeah, I don't know, I had so much fun with this project. The painting itself was epic, and yeah, it was a great challenge, from the wall to the size to the subject matter itself. Obviously, I really wanted to nail the likeness of Porky, the soldier in the piece, because that was such an important part to not only the mural and the property, but also the people that live there, and the family members that still actually live there. The colours and everything just looked really, really epic in person. I was really happy with how bright and colourful it all sort of came up. Even though this wall was so weathered and absorbed a lot of paint, the bright oranges and reds and blues really came out strongly. And when that sun's hitting it during the day, it's epic. I was working on this sort of single scaffold, as you can see. Did about 1,000,001 trips up and down every day because I was constantly forgetting what I needed, or leaving stuff down on the ground. It was a little bit rickety, but it definitely was easily workable, and much better having it than not having it. For a piece this size, it would have been a real pain to work without a scaffold. But I think that just about covers everything. I'm really, really stoked to finally share this with everyone and to get this video out there. I've got pictures up on my website, on my Instagram, if you want to have a look. But yeah, I'll leave it there, and I'll catch you next week in the next video.